Hello, thank you once again for tuning in to the 30-Day Mental Diet. We are at day number 8, and today's lesson is Live with Enthusiasm. And the subheading says, Expression is the essence of life. This word enthusiasm comes from the word entheos, which means with the spirit, in the spirit. And it also can be translated with God. So really, this lesson is live with God, live with the Spirit. Let us start in the introduction. The salient factor in all living things is a purposeful, constructive action. There is a continual growth and progression towards a goal. This is one of the criteria that scientists use to separate those things which they term alive from the so-called inanimate material in the world. Are you alive? You, of course, are alive. Your physical body is powerful evidence of the dynamic, purposeful forces of life active within you. But are you fully alive? Life in its expression as you has reached a place where you are self-conscious and think. It naturally follows that this activity of life within you must be purposeful and creative, but the scope of this activity is determined by you. You may be only half alive and not know it. Interesting introduction to today's lesson. And I want to point out something that was said in this introduction. It said, Willis Kinner is saying here two things that's very important to life. First is that life within you must be purposeful. That means life has to have a goal. You and I must have a goal in life. We must have a purpose. Without a purpose, we do not have a fulfilling life. And you will find that sometimes even when some people retire from their trade or their occupation, whatever they're doing, and they find that they have no purpose in life, within their body, degeneration starts to set in. And if something doesn't happen immediately, that person is a dead man walking or a dead woman walking. We must have purpose and we must have goals every single day, even when we're so-called, quote unquote, retired. And the second thing that is said here is that life within you must be purposeful and creative. In an earlier lesson, we spoke about the need to be creative because we are made in the image and likeness of God, and God is the great creator. It is important that we imitate him to have a fulfilling life, because there's only one thing that God does, and that is create. And this is very, very important that I reiterate this again. There is only one thing that God does, and that is create. And that's exactly what you and I do every day. We create our life anew every morning, every single day. Let's move on. Why you must be creative. The minute the flow of life is hindered or restricted in one respect, there's automatically a reduction of its flows in other ways. This leads to the inescapable conclusion that if you are not mentally productive, you are depriving yourself of a fuller experience of life physically. A stagnant mind produces a stagnant body. Remember, I just spoke about that just a minute ago. Keep that mind active. In fact, one of the things to stave off mental degeneration, seniors are always told to do things like puzzles or gardening or something that keeps their mind active. Your mind is what is creating your physical world. So if we let our mind be stagnant, some of us, we don't even have to be seniors. Some of us will sit for hours and vegetate in front of a television, just staring into a screen without really thinking about what's coming into our mind. Earlier in one of the first lessons, we spoke about, do we really think about all the thoughts that come across our mind? We cannot allow our thoughts to be stagnant, because our thoughts are creating our physical world, and a stagnant mind is going to produce a stagnant body. And a stagnant body, oh boy, we don't want that. Let's move forward. Where there is not a free flow of life, deterioration sets in. The healthy, happy person is the one who is busily engaged in creative and worthwhile endeavors. The endeavor must have significance to you. You must feel that what you are doing something constructive and that there is some purpose in what you are doing. Wow. Very, very important here. So whatever you do to be creative, whatever goals you have, your goals might not be important to me. Your goals might be to climb a mountain, Mount Everest or whatever it is. And I might look at that and say, oh, that's nice for you, but that's not my goal in life. Whatever it is that you are endeavoring to do must be important to you. And it's important that you pursue what you love every single day. Very, very important in order for you not to have that stagnant mind and stagnant body. Okay, let's move forward. I'm at the creative activities. The paragraph that says creative activities. Oddly enough, although compensation may be involved, it seems to have no relationship to the satisfaction derived from being able to express yourself in a purposeful way. Creative you must be. In this respect, even a high-salaried corporation president could have less joy in living than the hungry, aspiring poet. Yes, you know, from time to time, you will read about people that are wealthy, people that pretty much grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth, people that have everything, and yet they are not happy. You will read sometimes these people even take their own life. And you wonder, how can a person commit suicide that had so many things? This is because the money is not important. You must have purpose. You must have a purpose. And once you have purpose, then you can work towards your goal with enthusiasm, with the spirit. Okay? Let's move down. Learn to be creative. If you are bored, it is because you are not active. Life is never bored. It is always active. You can decide to be active and express life anytime you want to. Yes, there's sometimes you will hear people, or even sometimes my children, I hear from my children sometimes when they were much younger, oh, Daddy, this is boring. That is boring. And I always remind everyone that life is not boring. There's nothing boring. There's activity all the time. When you're saying something is boring, you're really expecting activity from an external source to entertain you. We are not here on earth to be entertained by external things. We are here to emulate the infinite mind of God and create. So if we are bored right now, that's because we're not creating. I'm going to say it again, if you and me sitting around right now saying, I'm bored. No, you're not bored. You're bored because you want an external source to entertain you. Get up and get busy doing. Get busy doing with some enthusiasm. Let's move on. Be yourself. I'm sorry, let's go to your resources. Reevaluate yourself. Recognize your resources, whichever lie ready to be tapped. Instead of minimizing your present abilities, develop them, for then you open the door for the discovery and the use of latent ones, which resides at the center of your being. Regardless of how creative you may now be, there is always a continual challenge to use the greater potential that is ever available to you. Reevaluate ourselves. Reevaluate yourself. In this Bible, it says that God has given every single man and woman a measure of talent. And what's being said here in this paragraph is that we need to use our abilities and develop them. So God may have given you a small talent, but he expects you to develop that small talent. And when you start to develop that small talent that God has given you, you will find that he will send his spirit and guide you into success with that talent. That talent is like an investment. It's like a seed that you put in the ground and you water. And the watering is when you're developing that talent. And sooner or later, it will bring forth fruit and it will blossom. So life is never boring. Don't sit around waiting for life to give you something. It's interesting because, we're coming out of a pandemic right now, and a lot of people are still home, hiding out, and they have not done anything in the past year because of the pandemic. They have put their life on hold, and they have hidden their talents in this time instead of getting up and working. Life is going to throw us things like this once in a while. It is important for us to work around it and keep developing the talents that God has given us. Let's move down to be yourself. You must learn to be yourself, an outlet for the activity of life in you. This is an ever increasing endeavor, for there is no diminishing of this activity except by those limitations you place upon yourself. You were created to be a channel for the expression of life. Regardless of your position, the nature of your endeavors, or the situation or condition in which you may find yourself, it is an axiom of nature that you must in some way learn to express yourself. Very, 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 very good lesson today. We must express ourselves. We must use the talents that we have received from God. We cannot sit around on the sidelines in life. Okay? And let us read here. I'm going to read Spinoza's right here from the philosophy section. Whatever is in God, and nothing can exist or be conceived without God. Wow. Remember, we started this lesson today with the word enthusiasm, or entheos, in the spirit, in God. So right here, Spinoza is saying, whatever is, anything you can think of and conceive of, is God. And it cannot be conceived without God. And even in the Bible it says, in God we live and move and have our being. In the spirit we live and move and have our being. Let's look down at Philippians 2:13 is a scripture that's used. For it is God which worketh in you both to will and to do his good pleasure. Beautiful. Let us turn to the diet together and let us read the diet together. Excuse me. And as usual, when we read the diet, let this say it with enthusiasm, say it with passion, so that these words and ideas can sink straight into your heart and into your subconscious mind. I know that I am a part of life. Its continual, purposeful creativity is evidence in my mind and body, and finds an outlet through what I think and what I do. As I now turn to this infinite intelligence, recognizing that it is also my intelligence, I permit myself to become an ever-increasing channel for its creative endeavor. Infinite mind always fulfills its every desire. The divine creative urge within me provides itself with the proper avenues for the complete and full expression and achievement. I am guided and directed into new situations, possess new ideas, discover new ways to be creative in what I am now doing. I become aware of new possibilities within myself, enabling me to engage in joyful and happy endeavors. I am supplied with the knowledge, the means, and the ways to become a more active, dynamic channel for the purposefulness of life. All my creative work is done with ease, sureness, and confidence. For it is not I, but infinite mind that is the doer. As I now express more of what life is, I am more fully experienced in all ways the completeness, the wholeness, the perfection, and the harmony that is its nature. It's a wonderful diet, and such a timely reminder that it is not us that is doing the work. It is God that's working through us to complete these things. And if it's God that's working through us, he has provided the ways and the means. Let me read the capsule supplement quickly. Today, in all ways, I express more fully the creative activity of life. I discover more joy and happiness through a greater influx and outflows of divine ideas. Beautiful, wonderful ideas today. So, I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment down below in the comment section. Give us a thumbs up, and I will see you again tomorrow on the 30-Day Mental Diet.